To the best and worst things that have ever happened to me, I love all of you. Thank you so much, because I could not be here had it not been for what we went through. It's funny how all of the things that have really made me who I am and woken me up to who I am these last few years at some point were all things that felt like the most world shattering and inescapable events of my life, because most of them were extremely world shattering. The death of your world, um, just obliterated when you feel like the ground is ripped from out under you, and all that you knew is just like running away at hyperspeed, and you're left with a version of yourself likely that you don't like, and you feel like you know even less, because who you thought you were was largely in relation to your connection and relation dynamic to whatever people or event, these worst and best things that have happened to us. But realize, try to remember when you find yourself there, that that's an opportunity to, yes, be blown apart and shattered. But then when you're slowly picking up the pieces, that's an opportunity to leave behind the parts of you that are not really you, that are not serving you, um, that are not healthy for you. Um, Trust me, it's not something that it's not a realization that's gonna hit you in the moment. You have to go through the grieving and the heartbreak and, just the cataclysm of having your world obliterated. But just know that it, these can, don't get stuck on thinking life is against you and the world is trying to ruin you, right? I I've felt that way many times, and it took me a long time to get to this point where I am, but I come to look at it more like it's God's way, it's the universe's way of showing you what does not belong in your life anymore. Like, things and people stay in our life for a season and a reason, and we're not always meant to grow with these people, and it's unfortunate. It's very heartbreaking sometimes to have to leave the people you love behind, or be left behind by the people you thought you loved, but there's something greater out there for you, and be thankful for who they made you, right? I know it hurts, and again, I haven't just arrived at this place of heart overnight. Um, this has been a whole lifetime, but really in the last 4 or 5 years, um, yeah, everything that I had imagined was going to be in my future and was meant for me was neither of those things. Um, and I've never been one that's much for planning, but um, I did at one point actually have someone I had thought I deluded myself into believing that I planned on spending the rest of my life with this person. And also, that is largely the catalyst for the genesis of my YouTube channel, and me. Like, I've been able to catalog much of the process in the aftermath of one of these uh, worst and best things that ever happened to me. But funny enough, a few worst and best things and events followed after that, which have all been, um, in one way or another, documented on this channel. And I'm so grateful to have felt a call to start this channel, even if it was only to leave behind some videos of me for people, my friends and stuff, to look back on if I didn't make it, because I was in a really low spot. And I've wanted to end my life more in the last few years than I have ever before in my entire life. And when you reach that depth of a low where you're sitting and contemplating and weighing the pros and cons of like how you should do it, why you should do it, like really steeped in the ideation period of it. Like it's much different than just having those passing thoughts of like, oh, I want to take myself out, when you can't escape the thoughts of like, oh my god, I cannot bear another day. Like I feel hollowed out, I feel heavy all the time. Somehow I'm feeling both those things at the same time. Make it make sense. um and wanted that was honestly one of the most important things for me too, because the reason, the realization I had with wanting to end my life, and what made me realize I did not want to, was every time I was making a plan to do it, the thing that got in my way and stopped me was the thought of somebody else finding me, and how that would emotionally and mentally scar somebody, and how I would never want to do something like that to affect somebody else's life for the rest of their life. And then it like really blew the doors off my mind when I was like, whoa, you feel this for everybody else, people you like, imaginary characters in this scenario of you ending your life. You can feel this compassion and love and recognize your inability to want to haunt somebody like that forever, but you can't love yourself. You're having this realization because you want to end your life, but you refuse to end your life because you love other people too much. And then that was like, wow, if I can feel that for other people, I'm sure I can learn to, like, how have I gotten this so backwards? Like, why do I hate myself so much? Why do I feel so low about myself? And then that opened up a Pandora's box of so many other, just it's been a journey of self and going inward and really facing your shadow work. That idea gets thrown around a lot, especially in modern spiritual communities and culture. It's initially attributed to Carl Jung. Um, and so yeah, like the idea of shadow work is another thing that gets phrase that gets kind of just willy-nilly thrown around, but really facing the most heinous parts of yourself and going in there and facing your own demons to the point where you befriend your demons. And that's not to say you become evil. I don't even think befriend might be the wrong term. You gain commandment over them. Isn't there something in the Bible saying Christ commanded legions of demons? Well, that's probably because the story of the allegory of Christ is about attaining unity and a cohesion and harmony within uh, the instrument of self, a unionizing of masculine, feminine, dark and light, conscious and unconscious. So when you begin to attain that, you know, um, in a way that could be said to gain commandment over legions of your demons. You know, you have to go into hell and walk through hell and face yourself in all of these, the worst parts of yourself in this world, to gain understanding and control over them. And it is an ugly process, but it is beautiful and radical as well. And I'm so grateful that I was led into this journey by these best and worst things that have ever happened to me, but more so the I've always felt like in my darkest moments when I felt I couldn't go on, that there was something guiding me my whole life, but I've become more aware of it, and tuned into it over these last few years. And I feel like that's been part of this refinement process, the refinement through repetition in recognizing these patterns in life and people and just energetic dynamics and how you react to them, and learning to respond to them versus reacting to them. Reacting is your initial emotional reaction, thoughtless reaction, autopilot, right? Versus taking a minute and feeling that emotion, but not reacting, taking a minute to take a breath, collecting yourself, and thoughtfully, strategically responding, right? And again, it's taken me going back and forth through hell and back time and time again to finally even start to get it. But that's a way of learning that once it gets so deeply beat into your being that you can't forget it, it becomes like you become these new ways of being. They change you through the process. And, that's what the death of worlds can do, is absolutely obliterate your life and your comfort zone and really give you the shakeup that you didn't know you needed. And let me tell you too, God will never throw anything, this universe will never throw anything at you that you are not capable of handling or getting through. And I know it, you're not going to always feel strong enough. It's when you ask for guidance from the homies. Learn to connect to the natural aspects of this world, and you will never be alone. And you will have teachers all around you at any time. You need some guidance. Just really learn to develop an honest connection with the divine and become open to your own heart. Love yourself, love others, be grateful. The fact that I can say any of this confidently after going through all these phases of my life is, I think, a testament to the power of God and what faith can do to a person, and how deeply developing a connection with this universe in the higher parts of yourself, in the most simplest, mundane seeming aspects of this world. It is all a beautiful design. It's all for us to experience and grow together, and remember that pain and suffering can be our most beautiful, profound, invaluable teachers. But first, they got to kick the shit out of you. And you're going to have to learn to hate the suffering. And then you might learn to love it. So to all you beautiful bastards and bitches, I fucking love all of you.